everyone. Thanks for coming to class. We're going to get started in any seated position. You can sit on your heels. You can sit hips elevated if you want. Just any where it's comfortable. You can sit up tall without feeling rigid. We won't be here too long. Just want to take the first maybe minute or two to settle into the physical body and connect with our breath. You can have the backs of the hands resting on the thighs and knees. If you want to work with the mudra, you can have the first finger and thumb together. And either with the eyes closed or halfway open, gazing at one point externally. We want the eyes to rest at one point. Just taking a moment to settle into the physical body, start connecting the pattern of our breathing. Just noticing that we're bringing attention to the breath, the inhalations and exhalations start to lengthen on their own. Start to get more invested in the breathing pattern. Any sensations in the body, you'll notice any illusions of the future, memories of the past start to hold less weight on our attention. Let's bring the palms together in front of the heart center, Anjali Mudra. Chant the sound of Om one time together to open up the practice. Taking a breath in. Slowly open the eyes. And start on all fours. We'll get the wrists under the shoulders and knees under the hips. I'm going to start off with a simple spinal wave, so it's similar to cat-cow stretch, but we'll tip the tailbone, chest, and head up. We're going to take a full breath in this shape first. And as you exhale, you'll leave the head up, start to tuck the tailbone first, feel lower, middle, upper back move, and then relax the neck at the very end. And then we keep the head heavy. We tip the tailbone up first at the beginning of the inhale. And we follow that wave-like motion up the spine to the headless up last. And then that's one round. So every time you start the inhale or exhale, you initiate the movement at the tip of the tailbone. Work your way up to the base of your skull. Noticing any areas along the spine, upper or lower back that might need a little more attention for you today. Take your time. Feel that navel engaging from the lower belly all the way up toward the rib cage through that exhale. And stretching the navel through the inhale. Broadening of the collarbones. Upper back expands a bit right at the end of the inhale. One last round. So take your time. One more inhale, one more exhale with that movement. Next time, find yourself inhaling, come to a neutral position for the spine. Letting those natural curves come back now. And then we'll bring the knees in a little closer toward the midline. Get the wrist a little wider than your mat. Fingers will point in the opposite direction. Start to shift the hip off toward your left. If it's comfortable, you can lift your right knee up, sink the hip a little bit closer. Just keep both palms firmly on the floor. And then inhale, come back through the center with the hip. And then exhale, shift off to the other side. Again, you can lift the left knee up if it's comfortable. And then back to center as you inhale. And then go back and forth at your own pace. You might move a little faster or slower than me or your neighbors based on your breathing pattern. You'll notice those deep muscles that wrap around the rib cage, getting a bit of a stretch on the exhale along the hip. And then also feel those muscles fire up to help bring the hips back to center. One more to the left and one more to the right. Back to center of that last round. We'll keep the hips over the knees, but then take the knees a little wider, about hip width distance. And then we're going to leave the right wrist pretty much where it's at, but point the fingers forward. Then take the left hand to the base of your skull. As you exhale, sweep your left elbow toward the right wrist. And as you inhale, sweep the elbow away from the wrist, and then chest turns slightly toward the wall on your left. And then go back and forth. And when you're doing this movement, I want to find a little more of an arc sweeping motion than a straight line, so that we're focused more on the twisting action from the lower rim of the rib cage up through the chest. Keep the right arm supportive. One last round. So on your next inhalation, you can bring the left hand down to the floor. That same support with the left arm and upper back. Right hand to the base of the skull. And when you're ready, you can sweep that right elbow toward the left wrist. That's your exhale. And sweeping the elbow away from the wrist. As you continue to do this at your own pace, we want to make sure that we're not wrenching the right arm back in space at the end of the inhale too much. Just really focusing on the twisting action in the spine, the arm going along for the ride. One more last round. And next inhale, on that. And then we'll set up with both palms, wrist shoulder width distance a little further forward in front for down dog. And once you get the hips backing up, and feel free to do any movement with the legs or the hips, keeping the basic shape to the posture. We want to keep regulating the breath. About 5-second breath in and 5-second breath out. On your next inhalation, we'll get shoulders over the wrists, strong in the navel. And then bring the knees down, get the tops of the feet to the floor. Let's keep the knees about hip width distance apart so the belly comes back and rests on top of the thigh. So you get a little bit of that compression of the navel on the thigh. So it won't go back as far and the head probably won't go down to the floor with this child's pose. On your next inhale, bring head forward, stop the shoulders once they're over the wrist, but continue to allow the chest to move through the arms. Keep navel firm enough so you don't rest in the lower back, get a stretch in the navel, and then downward facing dog as you exhale. And then we're going to take that short sequence at our own pace. We'll inhale into plank pose. Go into child's pose on the exhale. Navel to thighs. Inhale. And forward to stretch the navel, broaden the collarbones, lift and lengthen, and downward facing dog as you exhale. And we'll do that one more time with all these joints warmed up. Take your time, follow your breath, your movement. All end up. Downward facing dog. Now in the next exhalation, let's get the right foot to the outside of the right wrist for a wide runner's lunge. Maybe do a little free movement here, shifting hips from side to side. We can do circles. See if we can alleviate some initial tension in the front of the left thigh and hip. And we'll engage that back thigh, sink into the right hip, twist to the right, right arm straight up toward the sky. Take a couple breaths here in this version of revolving side angle. And about your third inhalation, come out of the twist, palm down. And right foot back, downward facing dog, exhale. Inhale and downward facing dog, and then exhale, left foot forward to the outside of the left wrist. Free movement here, shifting hip, circles. No breath retention, keep regulating. Inhale and exhale. Strong back leg, settle into left hip, twist toward the left. A couple breaths here. Your third inhalation, come out of the twist. And exhale, downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, after your inhale, as you exhale, start to walk the hands back toward feet. So walk hands back toward feet, bend the knees generously, get heels to touch the floor. Once they do, come up halfway into Ardha Uttanasana, breathing in. And then deep forward fold, exhale, and bend the knees as much as you need to so you can get hands tucked under the feet for Padmasana, toes tucked toward the creases of the wrists here. You can create a taut feeling in the arms, relax the neck muscles, and always straighten the legs as much as you need to get a meaningful stretch in the back line of your body. Release the hands from underneath the feet. Once you get both feet planted, inhale to come all the way up. Sweep the arms to the side, touch palms overhead. Might keep the gaze downward in case there's any dizziness. End up with arms alongside the body. And take a couple resting breaths here. Make sure the knees aren't locked out. Make a conscious connection from shoulder girdle to rib cage to hips, and all the way down into the soles of your feet. Follow the breath into the body. Notice how your body responds to the breath. Take the right leg in front of the left. So the outer edges of the feet are toward the midline. Both feet are firmly planted. You'll engage the thighs a little bit just to help with balance. This also brings a little strengthening component in. You're going to notice that this right front hip point's drawing at a slight angle. You're going to keep that there and then draw the right rib cage back so you start to free up that space between rib cage and hip. And then you're going to take your right arm up. Left arm just hangs out alongside the body. Feel like you're lengthening that ribcage away from the hip as you take the lean toward your left. And feel the expansive quality of the inhalation move through the right sideline. Maybe even help access what's going on in the hip structure. Next inhalation, come out of the side stretch. Take the arms down. Let's unravel the legs and switch sides. Engagement in the thigh muscles. Left front hip point, slight angle, or left rib cage back, left arm up. Inhale, and then take the side stretch on the exhale. Next, inhalation, come out of the side stretch, arm down, unravel the legs. And then let's all face the long edge of the mat. If you're in the room with me, you can face the edge on the left. And if you take arms out to a T formation, your ankles will be about in between your elbows and your wrists. So some point between elbow and wrist. And then we're going to splay the right, mirror your left toes out at a slight angle. Bend your left knee and make the adjustment here. So making sure that kneecap goes in the same direction as the toes. And take your right hand down to the floor. If the hand doesn't quite reach, you can use a block. Because you want the arm to feel supportive. And you'll feel that stretch in the right leg. You're going to twist now toward that bent leg. Now you can keep the left hand on the thigh, or you can take the arm straight up toward the sky. That feels like it's uncomfortable for your upper back or neck or inhibits the twist. You can keep the hand on the thigh and work that way. Now in your inhalation, you're going to come out of that, come back up, leave the left foot where it's at. So there's going to be a little bit of balancing component here when you come up. You're going to do the same thing with your right toes, which means you're going to be a little less stable. Go ahead and do the same thing, kind of test it out. Left hand comes down, right hand can be on the right thigh and work on the twist, or you can take the arm up toward the sky. And then when you come out of that, just be careful, again, because you're leaving the toes splay out. So you have to engage the inner legs a little bit more so you get that strengthening there. And then we go back and forth dynamically. So as you exhale, bend left knee, right hand to floor, and twist toward the bent leg. And then inhale, straighten both legs, come out of the twist, and you're back to center. And then go back and forth at your own pace. And you can choose to take a free arm up, or you can have the hand on the thigh and work with that as a counter force to accentuate the twist in that upper back area. Let's do one more to each side. Let's do one more to each side. Next time you come back to center from the right side, now we're going to take the heels out as wide as the pinky toes are. So now we take even a wider stance. If you need to shorten it up, you can. If it feels uncomfortable. But now we've got this wider stance. We're going to interlock fingers behind the hips, probably collarbones, and on your next exhale, take the forward fold and proceed to Padottanasana. Sure the knees aren't locked out. Your strong leg and hip to come all the way up on the inhale. Release the bind with the hands. Then we'll go into a runner's lunge facing the front edge of the mat. And from a runner's lunge, you'll bring back knee down, take the other foot back, and then sit on the heels in Vajrasana. If you need block bolster combination of props to make that available for you, go ahead and set yourself up there. And bring fingers in front of the shoulders and thumbs behind the shoulders, and we're going to do shoulder rotations. As wide a range of motion here as you can with your shoulder. You'll feel the stretch in the upper back, shoulder blade area when the elbows come forward. Feel that stretch for the chest in the front of the shoulders and the elbows go back. And reverse the direction of the rotation. You don't have to correlate the breath with any movement here. You might find some organic connection to your breathing pattern and the movement. Last round. And then we'll come forward. If you're any props, you can take those off to the side. We're going to come all the way down to the floor next. And once the belly's on the floor, lengthen the navel, and then bring the flat of the belly back down. Now this next movement, sometimes people call it scorpion, make sure that when the arm is extended, the shoulder is on the floor with the arm that's extended, and when you draw your left hip back, you don't point the knee up toward the sky, but instead you're focused on the extension of the leg with the knee bent. And then that's going to be your exhale. When you inhale, you come back to center and switch the arms. So go ahead and set yourself up with the right arm out to the side, shoulder in contact with the floor as you exhale. Roll left hip back, bend left knee, extend the left leg back in space. As you inhale, come back onto the belly and the left thigh. Switch the arms in the opposite direction. As you exhale, roll right hip back, bend right knee, and extend the right leg back. And then back to center. We'll do 2 more with the right arm straight. 2 more with the left arm straight. Take your time. Make a conscious connection diagonally across the body now from the shoulder and chest that you feel like you're stretching to the hip that you're stretching. Down. And next time, back on the belly from that last round, last side. Just be flat on the belly, scoop elbows under shoulders, set up for Sphinx pose, forearms and wrists shoulder width distance apart. This feels like it's enough for you in terms of extension of the spine. You can stay right here, otherwise keeping the palms where they're at. We'll float the elbows up, making sure we don't lock the elbows out or shrug the shoulders toward the ears. Take a few more breaths here in Cobra, Bhujangasana. Down, elbows way out. Arms go alongside the hips, the palms facing down. We'll keep the palms on the floor. Engage the glutes to lift the feet up without bending knees. Strong back, lift chest up, and peel the front shoulders away from each other actively. You might find a bit more extension in the cervical spine and neck. Just make sure that you focus more on lengthening the front of the throat than compressing the back of the neck. Down, hands slide into the shoulders. And curl the toes under, leave knees out on the floor, push chest and belly away from floor. Then take hips over the knees, the quarter dog. And start to walk the hands out in front, keep wrist shoulder width distance apart. Can't reach the hands any further forward without moving hips. Slowly allow the belly and chest to move toward the floor. And then when you've reached the boundary of the shoulders, relax your neck muscles. We're going to keep just enough weight moving back through the hips so that you maintain length in the torso and space for the shoulder joint. You're not resting, pushing any weight into the shoulders, but instead creating space as we lengthen the spine. We'll lift the head up, we'll slide the hands back, we'll cross the ankles, sweep the feet to the side or underneath the hips, extend the legs out in front. And then you need to bend the knees and or elevate the hips for Paschimottanasana. Once you've got that set up, then take the forward fold, combine at the base of the calf, reach for the foot, bridge the gap between hand and foot with a strap. Bring your attention to the whole back line of the body. Imagine from the soles of the feet up through the calves, thighs, hip structure, lower back, all the way up the spine. I found a bit more attention getting drawn to that middle back where the kidneys and the adrenal glands live. Find a little more compression in the navel. Simulation will bring the torso up. And then we'll cross legs to find any comfortable seated position next. Easy depth pose, half lotus, any other posture. You can sit up tall for some breath work. This for the last 4 to 5 minutes of class. Interlock the fingers, have the tips of the thumbs touching and arms resting on the thighs. Notice that the palms are open and slightly turned upward. Close your eyes. Again, fix your gaze at one point externally. The eyes wander a lot. It means the mind is wandering. So it just helps to keep the mind more focused. And just pretty simple but effective breathing technique. First here, become more attentive to a regular breathing pattern. So we're not using any particular ratio for the breath or controlling the breath in any particular way right now. Just being more invested in any physical or subtle sensations correlated with our breathing. Allowing the inhalation and exhalation to be whatever length is comfortable for you in the moment. Begin to add a short internal and external breath retention. This pause shouldn't be any longer than 1 or 2 seconds. Just Taking a moment both at the end of your inhale and at the end of the exhale. Allow the breath retention to fade away. Last minute or so here as you stay attentive to your natural breathing pattern. Pay particular attention to that moment or space that lies there between the inhale and exhale naturally. Particular attention to that moment that lies there between the inhale and exhale naturally. Next inhalation. Allow the attention to drift outwards, be more aware of the space or any sounds around you. As you exhale, feel the support of the floor underneath you, body weight settle into spine and hips. Palms together in front of the heart center. Let's take a moment for reflection and gratitude. Anything that moves through our hearts and our minds that we'd like to acknowledge and give thanks for. Seal the practice by chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Inhale. Om Shanti, Shanti. Stay. Thanks for joining me. Take your time getting up. If you have any questions, say yourself.
Thank you, Jay.
Go ahead home.